Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everyone around the world, welcome back to the Commanders Declassified podcast. We're going to be talking playoffs. This is your official playoff scenario declassified episode. I know you love when we do our declassified episodes because we go deep into the subject matter. And today it is the playoffs and our opportunity to make them. First, I want to say what's up to the peeps. Eric, what's happening?
Yeah, playoff declassified sounds a lot cooler than bye-week declassified, I think. So I think that was the right call. I'm doing all right. How are you guys doing?
Wonderful. Excelente. Brian, how's it going?
It's going real good. We are legitimately in the playoff conversation. So I can't be happier. That's awesome.
It is great. Great news heading into the middle of December. You know we got to pay some bills. Eric, I'm going to get your theme music queued up here. Once it starts, you do your thing. I'm going to finish my hot dog over here, and then we'll get down to business.
Make sure you stay on camera while you finish that dog. Put some chili on it. All right, the wait is over, ladies and gentlemen. DraftKings Sportsbook, one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps, is officially live in Maryland. Now you can legally bet on all your favorite sports with DraftKings anytime and anywhere in the state of Maryland, hun. That's a terrible Maryland accent. I apologize. For a limited time, new customers who sign up with promo code CDP11 receive $200 in free bets instantly. DraftKings has the best features, including same-game parlays, unlimited player props, and more with fast and easy payouts right at your fingertips. DraftKings Sportsbook is where I go for all my betting needs, and you should too. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code CDP11, as in Commanders Declassified Podcast 11. Get $200 in free bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on anything, only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code CDP11. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Maryland. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Bonus issued as free bets. See DraftKings.com/MD for full terms and conditions.
Woo!
And bills is paid.
Clean.
And the hot dog is eaten.
I was
Worked
too
out
busy
well,
reading
man.
to watch you snarf that down. Throw another one on the grill.
I feel cultural pressure not to eat hot dogs on camera. But anyway, let's talk about the playoffs. And we are now sitting outside the playoffs. We had the tie last week. Now, with the tie last week, our playoff odds only reduced about 3%. If we had lost, they would have gone down to, they were 63% before the game, 60% after the game. If we had lost, we would have been down to 40%.
Ooh.
So you hate ties, but it kept us in the playoff conversation at least for another 2 weeks because of the bye week this week. Let's dive deep into the playoff scenarios, and let's start with a look at the current playoff picture. As I pull this up, Brian, tell me what it would mean to you to make the playoffs this year.
It would mean a lot. We haven't been a very good team in some time. I know in 2020 we made the playoffs. We still had a losing record. If we want to go back to an NFC championship game, eventual Super Bowl, and be legitimate contenders year in, year out, then this is one of the steps that we've got to take. We've got to be able to win games late in the season, December, January, and get ourselves into this playoff and then actually do something. So this is a big step for us. We've struggled to get to 500. We seem like we maybe taken that little hurdle and we've gotten above 500. Now we've got to do the harder part of continuing to push and beat other good teams who are also fighting in there. So this would mean a lot because this would mean, hey, we're progressing towards getting back to some of those glory days.
Absolutely. Playoff respectability. All right. In the NFC, the conference leader are the Eagles. They're 11-1, and the Vikings are 10-2. Both those teams are at least 2 games up on the third team, San Francisco, who was 8-4 but just lost their quarterback. The Buccaneers, after a thrilling Monday night game when Tom Brady threw 2 comeback touchdowns on consecutive plays after there was a penalty on the first one, found a way to get it done. They're 6-6, a division leader there. The Cowboys are 9-3. This is where I think the real playoff race starts to occur. I think the rest of those teams are safe. in their spots in their division leads. But when you get to, and the Cowboys, are safe in that wild card spot at 9-3. The playoff opportunity, the playoff race really comes down to the Giants at 7-4-1, the Seahawks at 7-5, who are both in the playoff as of today, the Commanders, who are a half game back at 7-5-1, and a surprise team is the Detroit Lions at 5-7, but they are hotter than lava right now. They are really, really roaring back. You see what I did there? The Lions are roaring back. And then you have the Packers on the outside looking in. I think they're probably one loss too many to really be a factor in the playoff race. But first of all, Eric, between the Giants and the Seahawks, which one do you feel more comfortable as a lock to make the playoffs?
I think the Seahawks are more of a lock to make the playoffs than the Giants. The Giants' schedule is rough. They've got 2 against Philly. They still have to play the Vikings in addition to the Commanders one more time. That's a rough go of it for the end of the season for a team that's really an upstart. That team has surprised a lot of people this year, turned a lot of heads, and gained some respectability. But this is a rough stretch coming up for the Giants. So I believe next week's game with the Commanders really is going to dictate who gets that final playoff spot. I think Seattle, now with the injury in San Francisco to the starting quarterback, and they haven't really upgraded it, has a real shot at coming back and actually getting that division. So we'll see what happens there. But I think that the Giants are the most likely, outside of us, of course, to fall out of contention for the playoffs.
Yeah, Brian, are you in agreement with that?
Yeah, I think the Seahawks are solidly in there. Everything has just seemed to work right for them this year, right? The maturation of Geno Smith, their new offensive coordinator, everything has just kind of fit for them, and they're playing inspired football. I really see them, kind of keeping and putting this thing together and making that playoff run. The Giants, not so much. Eric's right. They have a tough road ahead. I tweeted or retweeted the strength of schedules for some of the remaining teams, and we were like 4th toughest schedule remaining, and 3rd was the Giants. So they have a tough road ahead. We have a tough road ahead as well too. But just like you had asked earlier, Ellie, if we want to take that next step, this is what we got to do. This is we've got to beat some of these teams here. But yeah, I think Seattle, and I think hopefully, right, it's the Giants who kind of falter here.
Yeah, according to 538, the Giants, of the 3 primary teams in contention, the Seahawks, Commanders, and Packers, the Giants have the least percent chance to get to the playoffs at 51%. They have the Seahawks at 79% and the Commanders at 69%. 538 does about 50,000 simulations to see how this is going to work out. Now, the teams on the really outside that have potential to get, like we talked about the Lions, they're only about 8%, and the Packers are 4%. So, fellas, I want to walk through the schedules of these teams that are in contention, and let's see where we think they end up. We're going to go game by game for the Packers. Okay, so the Packers play the Rams on December 19th. I believe they have a bye week this week, if I'm not mistaken. The Rams just picked up Baker Mayfield. Eric, do you think they beat the Rams, the Packers?
It's up in the air. That's really a game between also Rams this year. The Rams, Baker Mayfield will likely get that start. It would be maybe his first start, maybe second start with the team. That's kind of a toss-up because the Packers have just been really bad, although Christian Kirk has figured it out these past couple of weeks, and he was a great pickup off the waiver wire in our 14-team fantasy football league, by the way. He's been killing it the last couple of weeks for me. So I'll say the Packers probably can beat the Rams just because of that. The Rams are really a shell of the team. Those Bills definitely came due this year, and the lack of depth is really hurting them with the injuries that they've had. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Packers over the Rams in that scenario.
Okay. And I was looking for like this string of when the Packers put together. It really hasn't happened. They've been very inconsistent. Brian, what about you? Packers, Rams, what say ye? Who wins that game?
Yeah, I'm probably going to have to go. I mean, we still have Aaron Rodgers and Christian Watson, like Eric was saying. is still. He's been awesome these last several weeks. It's like the light bulb has gone off for him, and who knows what the Rams are going to do at quarterback, right? They're saying they sent the playbook to Mayfield on the phone or emailed it to him so he can look at it on the plane ride to LA. So is he going to play? Is it going to be the undrafted free agent that they've got there, quarterback? So who knows what they're going to do? So I really think the Packers, it's going to be an ugly game. I think they can pull that out pretty easily.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty easy dub. No matter what Mayfield does, it's too soon, and he hasn't been effective this year anyway. Yeah. All right, so then the Packers go, they play the Dolphins. I'm going to say that's a loss. Anybody disagree with that?
Yeah, I think the Dolphins are good enough to beat the Packers this year.
Dolphins will win.
For sure.
And then they play the Vikings on New Year's Day. That's a holiday. Kirk Cousins ain't going to want to be there. I'm going to say the Packers beat the Vikings on New Year's Day. What do you guys think?
No, Vikings are going to be playing for a shot at home field advantage. They got a lot to play for. They need to be the team that chokes and loses to us in the first round. So I think they win.
Okay. Yeah, agreed. The Packers they're still too far up and down. They can't.
All right. And then they finish up with the Lions from Detroit. I'm going to say the Lions win that game. What do you say, Brian?
Agreed. I think Dan Campbell will have them fired up to get that, and I think they take it. Yep.
Look at you being a Dan Campbell guy.
Yeah,
I still think he's out of the league here soon. I don't think he's very good. He beat us. That's great.
Yeah, I think the Detroit is still going to have an outside shot at the playoffs come week 18, so I think they'll be ready to play, and they'll take Green Bay. Okay. I think Green Bay will be eliminated by then, though.
Yeah, so based on what we've kind of gone through with our scenario here, the Packers don't make it because I gave them the most wins at 2. That would only put them at 7 and 10. Not making it. So we're saying the Packers are out of this thing.
Yeah.
Let's look at the Lions and let me get their schedule up. This is the sneaky good team, the Detroit Lions. I believe at one point they were 1-6, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember exactly, but they were pretty bad. And we'll do the same exercise here. Let's see. So the Lions up next play the Minnesota Vikings. Eric, how's that going to turn out for the Lions?
I'm taking the Vikings on this one. It's an L for the Lions.
Okay. Brian?
Yeah, the Vikings got something to play for. They're still highly motivated, and they're just a better football team. They fall, or the Lions fall to the Vikes.
The Vikings lost to the Commanders, and they've lost to some other teams with less explosive.
They did not lose to the Commanders.
I'm sorry. The Vikings beat the Commanders, but barely is what I meant to say. But they tend to play down sometimes. So I think the Lions are going to steal that one. I think the Lions are hungry. They're going to come out ready. It's a division game for them. I am going to take the Lions. That is a dub. All right. Then the Lions go and play the New York Jets. Eric, how do you see that one coming up?
That'll be an interesting game because both teams, the Jets are way better than people still give them credit for. Their defense is insane. And the Lions offense is crazy good. So that'll be a fun one to watch. I'm going to go with the New York Football Jets in that game. I'm gonna take the Jets there. It'll be the Mike White. No, I think Zach Wilson will be back by then. Mike White's gonna stink it up next week.
It may go to Flacco.
Yeah, it may go to Flacco. If it goes to Flacco, I'm gonna take the Lions.
Brian,
I'm gonna go ahead and give it to the Jets for now, but we'll see who the Jets quarterback is.
All right.
Yeah, I go with the Lions on this one. The Jets do have a really good defense, but I think their offense is still kind of pedestrian. I don't think it's enough. The Lions score a lot of points, and I think they hang in there and they take down the Jets.
Agreed. I think they win that one pretty easily. Then they play the Panthers in complete disarray. I have a dub for the Lions over the Panthers. Any disagreement, fellas?
Yeah, Lions are winning that one.
Not so fast. Not so fast. The Panthers have a surprisingly decent defense, and they've been a tough game. They've won 4 games. I think the Lions, they fall to a trap game. They lose.
Not a chance, but I'll take your word for it. Okay, Then they play the Bears on New Year's Day. The Bears have a decent defense. They have a very mobile quarterback, but it never really seems to be enough to win anything significant. I am taking the Lions on New Year's Day. And holy crap, I got the Lions winning 4 straight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no way they're doing that.
This is the problem with picking one at a time, is it always looks good until you look at the final result.
Come on,
You ain't lying.
Dan
You
Campbell,
ain't lying.
he ain't that good.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Lions in that one too. The Bears are just good enough to lose close.
Yeah.
And I don't see that changing for the rest of the year.
Yeah, the Bears, they're just not there yet. They're a little bit more exciting since we played them. They can score some points now, but they're not near as competitive as they would like to be. So Lions take that one.
That's a dub. Okay. And then they finish up with the Packers, who we just said will probably be eliminated at that point in the final week of the season. Eric, start us out there. What do you got?
Yeah, so I said it earlier. Lions, they'll be playing to go 9-8, and I think they'll get there. So I do think that the Lions, with motivation, will just demolish the Packers in the last game of the year.
Yeah, Brian, you got a dub for the Lions there as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think Eric's right. They're playing for something. They're trying to show that they've arrived. So yeah, I think they win that one easy.
All right. And with that, Eric has the Lions finishing.
Did I say 9-8? I think maybe 8-9.
Yeah,
I don't
89.
remember.
That's correct.
8-9, yeah.
Brian, you have them finishing 8-9 as well.
Yep.
And I have them finishing
10-7.
Well, the Commanders
are that magical run. Yeah.
That run is going to be real. Okay. So we'll have to see how that plays out with the rest of the picks. I'm going to skip over the Commanders for now, so we'll do those last. Let's look at the Seahawks' final games. The Seahawks are currently, what are they, 7-5?
Yeah.
Let me make sure I have that correct.
Where are they?
Man. Yeah, 7-5. All right. I shouldn't tell you the record before we do this, so you don't try to guess your games to fit their record either. No cheating, fellas. Seahawks are taking on.
Even think of that.
The Panthers this weekend. Eric,
that's a dub. Yeah, they beat the Panthers this weekend. It's a home game, I think.
Yeah.
Panthers got to travel all the way to Seattle. They're not winning. So that's a win for Seattle.
Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, they're going cross country. That's over. Seahawks win that.
All right. Then they turn around. They got to play the 49ers, a divisional game. I'm going to say this is a loss for the Seahawks. Brian.
Yeah, it definitely a loss. D'Amico Ryans has the 49ers defense just running perfectly. I saw some stat that they were giving up either in the second half of games like only a touchdown or something less. I mean, they have been just impressive on defense. I think they smother the Seahawks.
All right.
Yeah, the Seahawks don't beat any good teams. Just an FYI, they're 7-5. Their schedule. They've beaten cupcakes. They lose to every good team they play. They haven't beaten a good team all year, and it's not going to change.
Yeah. I'm looking at the schedule. I tend to agree with you, man.
Yeah.
So, all right. They got the Chiefs after that. Talk about a rough series of games. They have the Kansas City Chiefs on Christmas Eve, I believe it is. Or is it Christmas Day? I forget. But I think – go ahead.
No, it's Christmas Eve, 24th.
That's right. Okay. I like the Seahawks a lot, but Eric's point's valid. They just don't beat quality opponents. I'm going to take the Chiefs over the Seahawks that day.
You would be a fool not to.
Yeah. Chiefs all the way.
And then they got the Jets on New Year's Day. I'm going to say that the Seahawks are going to beat the Jets. Brian?
Yeah, I think it's a high-scoring game. Seahawks take that one.
And Eric?
I'm going to take the that's a tough one. I'm going to take the Seahawks because it's a home game, and Seattle at home is always a challenge.
Yeah. Agreed. Then they finish up with the hapless Rams. I'm calling that a W.
Yeah.
That's the Baker Mayfield coming out party.
Are you taking the Rams though?
Yeah. No, I'll take the Seahawks. It's a home game.
All right, fellas. So when you add it all up, I think we all agreed on this for every game. That would put the Seahawks at 10-7.
Wow.
to finish the year. So, holy smokes. Now we got ourselves a little battle going on here. And then let's go to the Giants. And let me pull up their schedule. They are currently 7-4-1. Give me 1 second. All right, Eric. The Giants have the Eagles this week. How do you see that one shaking out, sir?
Eagles are going to trounce them.
Yeah,
The
same.
Eagles are firing on all cylinders right now. We woke them up. They're playing really well.
They blow them out bad. They injure Saquon. So,
oh jeez,
wow. Yeah, I'm calling that's L's across the board. Then they play the Commanders on the 18th, and take your emotions out of it. Give me your honest assessment. I'm going to say this is going to be at FedEx late in December. The weather's probably going to be sloppy. I'm going to say I'm going to take the Giants here. I don't want to, but I'm going to take the Giants.
This is a Taylor Heineke special.
Sloppy weather?
Commanders, bad weather game, prime time, late December, big stakes. That just screams Heineke win.
All right.
Taking the Commanders.
I hope you're right, man. I really do. Brian, what do you think?
This is a Commanders win all the way. Scott Turner has learned his lesson. He's not going to call 41 pass attempts for Taylor Heineke. Both Gibson and Brian Robinson will both have over 20 carries in this game, and we win. Ugly looking game, but we win it.
Scott Turner has learned his lesson. You keep saying it. Yeah, keep seeing different. But all right.
He's learned it for 1 week. 1 week.
Okay. Then they play the Vikings the following week on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
I have that as a loss for the Giants.
Yep.
Same.
Loss. Yeah.
And then
is it prime time?
Nope. 1 o'clock game. Unless
it's 1 o'clock. Kirk trounces the Giants.
Yep.
Let's see. Giants and the Colts the following week. I think that's a dub city for the Giants.
Yep. Agreed.
I'm going to take the Colts in that one.
Ooh.
Yep.
The Jeff Saturday special.
Yep.
Old Saturday special right there.
I'm taking the Colts. Matt Ryan's farewell. He's got one last hurrah in him.
Before he comes to DC.
Right.
Then they finish up at the Eagles, who will have everything under the sun sewn up.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Giants.
Nope. The Eagles will be holding off the Vikings for home field advantage. They do have something to play for. I'm taking the Eagles in that one too. I hope you're counting because I just picked the epic collapse for your boys in blue. I knew, this isn't a one game at a time thing. I know exactly what I'm doing.
Okay.
I can't see the Eagles playing anybody in that game, even if they play their starters for a half. I don't see it. I think the Giants win that one just because the Eagles are looking on to the playoffs.
Yep, exactly, man. So, Eric, you don't have any more wins on the schedule for the Giants.
Nope.
You good with that?
Yep, post and donut the rest of the way. Their last, the Colts is a winnable game. Commanders is a winnable game, but I think they lose both. I think their magic has run out this year.
You got.
I do like Dable, and I think they're going to be a problem in the future if they figure out quarterback and receiver, but not this year.
They're going to draft Anthony Richardson.
I
hope they fire Dable at the end of the year because of the collapse too. That'd be the best.
Eric has the Giants finishing 7-9-1. Brian has them finishing 9-6-1.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And I have them finishing 10-5-1. No, 10-6-1. Brian, I got you wrong. You're 9-7-1. Sorry. So we'll add that up in a second. And then last but not least, we have your Washington Commanders, who are 7-5-1. And put that here. Eric, we play the Giants out of the bye week. You just said we're going to win that.
That is a dub.
Brian, you have that as
that's a
dub. I got it
as
a
win.
L. And people in the comments, deal with it. I just think that there might be a loss here by the Giants. I don't hate my team. I love them very much, but I'm trying to be realistic with these prognostications. All right. After the Giants game, we have the San Francisco 49ers, Eric.
Yeah, I think that's a loss for us. Even though they're missing their quarterback, I think their defense will completely stifle our offense, and that's probably like a 10-7 game, or like a 10-3 game. But I think that, yeah, I do think that's a loss for us.
I was going to have it as a loss for us if Jimmy G was back there. I think we'd probably get run out the building. But if they have Brock Purdy back there, or who's it, Josh Johnson, I think we win it. And I think Eric's right. It is going to be ugly. It will be low scoring, but that's where we like to play. We like to be in a ugly, back alley street fight, and that's us. So we win it. Very close, low scoring.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think I'd actually prefer Jimmy Garoppolo be there because then they're going to pass the ball. Our pass rush can make plays, things like that. This is going to be what's his name? Christian McCaffrey just going bananas. And then some Debo Samuel stuff underneath, which I think plays worse for us than it would be if they were passing a little bit more downfield with Garoppolo. I have this as a loss, and I think it's going to be a pretty rough game just because they're that good running the football and they're that good defensively. It's something to see. All right, then we have the Browns, Deshaun Watson on New Year's Day. I think this will be his third game back. Eric, how do you see this Browns game working out?
No, we don't lose to the Browns. That's a win for us. I don't care who's playing quarterback for them.
Agreed.
The Browns defense is really good, but we'll be right off of 49ers. We'll figure out how to beat a good defense.
Yep.
It'll be another low scoring game. It'll be like a 19-16 type game, but we're not losing to the Browns.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. We beat the Browns. If Deshaun Watson has 12 games under his belt or something like that, it may be a different story. But all he got to do against the Texans, who were terrible, no, he's not ready for what's about to happen to him.
Man, this is a tough one. It really is because they have the pieces defensively on the line that really can cause us problems. I need to know, is Chase Young back this game? You would hope he is. And what's going on at quarterback, especially after that Niners game? You know what I'm saying? Because if that game's as bad as we think it is, there could be some decisions to be made. I don't want to project that. I don't know. But, man, this is a hard one. It depends on which Deshaun Watson walks into the stadium that day. I'll say that much, because if he's back and more in his rhythm, this could be a long day because of Amari Cooper and some of those folks. Also, BSJ has to play this game too. But if all of those things are right, BSJ's back, Deshaun Watson's not fully back, I'm going to give us the Commander's dub here.
Yeah.
You're really giving a lot of credit to Cleveland.
Yeah. I mean,
it's Cleveland.
Deshaun Watson hasn't played in 2 years, and you're saying that in 2 games he'll be back to form. It's going to take him time. So this is the right time to play him. If we were playing him after 16 games and he had been back to form, okay, then that probably changes the equation. But I think we catch him early, and I don't think he's ready for it.
Yeah, David Njoku could have the game of his life against us, though. So
whatever.
He can also be hurt in the first quarter too. That's Njoku.
All right, then we finish with the Cowboys. Final week of the season. The Cowboys will probably be playing not for playoff position, but maybe just sort of ranking in the playoff picture. What do you guys think for the Cowboys game, Eric?
I think that is a dub for us. I'm calling it now. I think the Cowboys will rest players. They may not rest them from the get-go, but I think they'll start pulling them because I think that their position is going to be secured. They're going to be probably the 5 seed. I don't think they're going to catch Philly. I think they lose to Philly when they play them, which basically will put them out of the division championship picture. And I think that they will be very secured knowing that they are the 5 seed going into the playoffs, and they're going to play San Francisco in round 1 most likely, or maybe Tampa Bay, and they'll be prepping for that week. I think that this team, this is a win for us because we will be playing for a playoff spot.
Yeah, I like that argument as well too. I think the Cowboys rest people. I think we play hard and we get the win.
Look, Cooper Rush beat us earlier in the year, right?
Yeah.
So if they rest Dak, I think they still have some things there, and I think they didn't even have Michael Gallup, or he was just coming back that game. So I don't know, man. And their backup running back is Tony Pollard, right? So like, even if they rest guys, they got folks, man. They got
no. Zeke won't dress. Pollard will play sparingly. They're not going to risk injuring Pollard for a meaningless game.
I'm gonna put the dub down because you guys are talking me into it.
That's right.
That means that Eric, you guys going 3-1 down the stretch. 3-1. 10, 6-1. Brian, you guys just smoking everybody down the stretch.
Well,
so you have us at 11, 5-1.
Yeah. Well, I picked 11. I picked.
He didn't even know. He's like, yeah, I did.
I picked 11-6 when we did the schedule forecast, right? So I'm sticking with my my prediction there. It's still not out of the realm of possibility.
Y'all see how we are battling with the Giants. Y'all got us smoking everybody. Okay, guys.
I don't have us smoking everyone, but 3-1 is not. You're scared of Cleveland, so I don't want to hear your opinion.
I have us 2-2 down the stretch, which is pretty close to what our general record is most times. So that would put us at 9, 7, and 1. All right. So, Eric, your playoff teams would be the Commanders and Seahawks. You feel good about that as the last two in?
I do. Detroit's going to make a run at it, but I think Seattle holds them off.
And Brian, your playoff teams would be the Commanders at 11, 5-1, 4 straight. And I think you would actually be the Seahawks as well.
Yes.
Okay. I would have the Lions winning 5 straight. And I have the Lions and the Seahawks making it in. And actually, no, I don't. I have the Giants and either the Seahawks or the Lions making it in. Well, since I'm going to give them 5 straight, I'm going to say it's going to be the Lions and the Giants.
Seattle beat Detroit, so Seattle would have the tiebreaker if they tie.
Oh, there it is.
Can Dan spell playoffs?
Playoffs. So I got the Seahawks and the Giants making the playoffs, but that's the current playoff positioning, so it's not that far off, right? Again, 538 has the Seahawks at 79% and the Commanders at 69%. So both of you guys are in agreement with 538. I'm in agreement with the current standings for the playoffs as of right now. I don't think I think the most critical game for us down the stretch is without a doubt this next game. If we lose this next game, Eric, how much does that change your opinion about the Commanders getting into the playoffs?
Yeah, that's going to hurt a lot because then you're going to be 2 back of the Giants at that point, or no, maybe a game back of the Giants at that point, and 4th in the division. And then you can recover from that, but you're going to have to win, 2 of your last 3 games at that point, which, I have them doing anyway. So maybe, but if they finish at 9, 7, and 1, that's going to make it a lot tougher to get into the playoffs ahead of the Giants, even though, like I said, the Giants, that might be their last win of the season. So in that case, they may still only finish, 8 or 9, 7, and 1 as well, but they would have the tiebreak on us. So, it's just one of those. It would be soul crushing. I think my whole opinion of this team. I'll start doing mock drafts if we lose to the Giants. Put it that way.
Brian, you in agreement with that? If we lose to the Giants, it's pretty catastrophic.
Oh, it's if we lose to the Giants, it's apocalyptic. It's right back to square one for us. We are the same old punchline as we were before. Whatever progress we thought we would have made is now gone. So yeah, that would be bad. And while technically if we do lose to them, we would have a very slim playoff margin, but then you're talking about we need other teams to win, we need these teams to lose, and those types of scenarios, and that's never a position you want to be in as a football team trying to make the playoffs. Win your games and get in that way. So yeah, if we lose that, it's a huge step backwards for us.
Yeah, and honestly, if the Giants beat the Eagles this Sunday, I'm going to start sweating. I'm going to start sweating a lot.
Yeah.
Now, because that would then put them at 8, 8-4-1, and that looks a lot different, right? When they play us at 7-5, so That would make me a little bit nervous there if they beat the Eagles. I don't think it'll happen though. I think the Eagles are just hitting on too many cylinders right now to lose to a team like the Giants. But Lord help us if they do. All right,
I got a curveball.
Yeah, we got.
We just went through all these scenarios with these different teams and their records getting into the playoffs. What is our confidence factor in the head coaches of these teams going into the playoffs here? Like, we're talking about Daboll, a rookie head coach. While he has done well in these first 7 games, he's still a rookie head coach prone to rookie mistakes. I don't necessarily know that I have the confidence in him to get into a playoff because he's never done it. Dan Campbell, I'm not a fan of Dan Campbell. I don't think he's very bright. But I think you have him winning all these games to get into the playoffs. So, what do you guys think about these head coaches? I'm curious to see if it matches their win total to get into the playoffs.
Well, I think Pete Carroll is a guy that you got to put your faith in because he's done it many times before.
Agreed.
Daboll is a really talented head coach, and it would not be crazy to have him lead his team to a playoff. I just think their schedule's too tough going down the stretch. But they did a really nice job of putting themselves in this position, and that's a huge credit to him. And you saw how much he's protecting Daniel Jones, so I think he's done a good job. Dan Campbell is that wild card, like that offense. I mean, bright or not, that offense works. And it's just whether the defense shows up many times for that group, and his players love playing for him. So. I don't think, I definitely don't hold him in as low regard as you do, Brian. But he's a guy that he's just that X factor wild card type that you just don't know what's going to happen. But one thing that beats tough is crazy. So who knows? Yeah. So coaching, everybody's got their own strengths and weaknesses. So and Ron Rivera is just steady Eddie, right? So he's probably the one I have the least confidence in moving forward, just because he's going to keep doing the same thing he does every week, regardless of whether it works or not. And hopefully that gets him to the playoffs, but it might not.
Yeah. And only 2 teams have quarterbacks that have been to the playoffs: the Commanders and Taylor Heineke, and the Lions with Jared Goff. He went to the Super Bowl, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
That may not mean much. I think the Lions are realistically a year away. Next season, I think they're really a force to be reckoned with. I don't think they'll put – I know I just kind of went through their schedule and gave them 5 dubs. That's not going to happen in reality. And that's just too much for a team like that. I like Dan Campbell a lot, and so do all of my peeps in Detroit. Shout out to everybody back there. But like I said, 1 year too soon. Pete Carroll, yes, he's in. He's just going to find a way to get in there. Everything they've done with that defense, with those rookies, everything they're doing. They got Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, for God's sakes, on the outsides. Arizona can be a mess at times. So, I'm not worried about the Seahawks. I think of all the teams we talked about, I have the most confidence that the Seahawks are going to make the playoffs. That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah.
Daboll with the Giants, their issue is there's just not enough there offensively to make it happen. Regardless of how good Saquon is, there isn't enough there. But then if I say that about them, I got to say it about us too. There's not enough there offensively to really make you feel good about the Commanders getting into the playoffs. And whose defense is better, the Giants or the Commanders? If I ask you guys that right now,
the Commanders.
Yeah. I think ours is better. The Giants defense lives by the blitz, and they'll die by the blitz. It could literally take one pass from a low skilled quarterback like maybe Taylor Heineke. It doesn't even matter. You don't need a great quarterback to necessarily hit a big home run against their defense. So to me, that's that goes Commanders all the way.
I think the defenses are pretty equivalent, honestly, and they're not healthy fully yet. So, to me, listen to what we're saying. Like, Chase Young really might be the X factor in all of this, coming down the stretch. So we'll see what we can get. I think I would give the edge a little bit to the Commanders defense, but it's not by much. Even though the Giants don't have some of the, the defensive line that we have necessarily through and through, they still find a way to be effective. And they still hold really good teams to really low point totals. And that's what matters at the end of the day. It's tough, but there are so many scenarios that could work out. And this is why you watch football late in the year, But ultimately, our predictions aside, I think it's Seahawks and everybody else in terms of the last three teams. I just think with the Giants being a game up on us already, that's problematic because that puts us in a position to have to win this game coming out of the bye week. So I would probably, I'm going to give the edge to the Giants at this point. So, all right, Eric, final thoughts on the playoff scenarios.
I don't know what I'm going to do this Sunday. Probably get something done around the house. Maybe watch a little quality football from other teams. But enjoy your bye week, fellas.
Appreciate you, man. Brian, final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Don't worry about playoff scenarios or any of the. Win the games in front of you. That's all you ever have to do. Win those games, and you control everything that you need to control as far as playoffs. You lose, then you better get out the algorithm and the formulas because you're going to have to need a lot of help to get where you want to go. So just win the games.
Yeah, I mean, they don't technically control their own destiny, right? Because if the Seahawks went out, the Lions went out, and even if they beat the Giants, they still don't make the playoffs, I don't believe. But it's pretty close to controlling your own destiny. That win against the Giants would put them back in the driver's seat, and you just got to handle your business from there. So you're right, though. None of that matters if you just lose games.
Yeah.
That's the way. So it's almost like a code red. You need to win out to feel good about your chances. And
We got the Jay Green voice, code red. We got that.
Yeah. Who did you order the code red? Anyway, yes, we are off into the bye week. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this. Make sure you take a moment to subscribe. Hit us up in the comments and let us know what you think the playoff scenarios and how they will shake out. We love to read that stuff, from everybody, all commenters. We read them all, and catch us anywhere you can find a podcast. We are there. Subscribe, tell a friend in any country you live in. We appreciate it, and we are OUT out of here. See ya.